Hey guys, welcome to another video. In this video, we'll be covering ChatGPT, and essentially I'll be talking about what the technology is from a very top level perspective. I'll be covering some limitations of the tools, SEO and digital marketing applications that I've been playing around with. I'm pretty sure there's going to be much more discoveries as more and more people play around with this tool, but I think it'll be really useful for a lot of people who are checking out this video at the moment, and what I believe the future will hold for not only search, but just in general, how this AI technology can impact society as a whole. So let's get into it. What we have here is OpenAI's blog. Highly recommend you read it if you want to get a better understanding of how this tool works. It covers quite a lot of information. I think there's two very interesting aspects to cover here in this blog. One, it actually shows a detailed three-step process of how the tool works. I'm not going to go into every single step, but just from a very top level perspective, it just works by a reinforcement learning method. Also, it has human feedback. So those two aspects work hand in hand. So as you can see, stage one, it collects some data, there's some human interaction, and then it just fine tunes using GTP 3.5. And then it collects more comparison data, has a reward module, goes through all of these steps. And then in step 3, let me just move myself to the side, further optimizes the data set and has more outcomes here. The interesting perspective that this blog doesn't cover, but what I've read in other source material, is essentially the ChatGPT AI tool works in such a way where it's basically data, about 570 gigs worth of data from Wikipedia and various articles and scholarly resources from across the internet. And it's been used as a basis of a lot of their answers over the last several years. It covers several years of information leading up until about 2021, which is really interesting to note considering what this tool is able to provide and show, which I'll cover a little bit later. The most important aspect is going through some of the limitations of this tool before I end up playing around with it and showing you what I've been able to achieve so far. So I'm not going to go through every dot point in fine detail, but I will highlight some key points. So ChatGPT essentially can provide plausible sounding answers, but they could be incorrect or nonsensical. So bear that in mind, especially for anyone who's trying to use this tool for basically content writing. Proofread it, look it up, because as you know, helpful content update in other aspects of digital marketing and SEO, make sure that you can't game the system. So definitely proofread what's happening and what answers are being provided by the machine. What's another aspect is that there is no single source of truth, which is very important to note. It is basically a training model, and overall it depends on what the model knows. So once again, information changes over time, and what you may be searching may be outdated or potentially irrelevant now, depending on what it is that you're searching for. This is something that I believe a lot of people have already experienced who've played with this tool. ChatGPT is sensitive to tweaks, inputs, or phrasing. Definitely, even one word or just a slight difference of how you've put together a particular query can give you a different result. And I may actually encounter that given when I play around with this tool. There could be certain circumstances where one word may give me a completely different response and maybe not the one that I'm after. Using excessively verbose or overuse phrases could potentially confuse, give bias, or may not give the right answer that you're looking for. The tool doesn't also ask clarifying questions, so there could be some ambiguity based on the query that you search for, or it may not be 100% certain what is the right and relevant response that should be given to your query. So with that, let's quickly jump into the tool and I'll show you a few interesting bits and bobs I've been playing around with. So what I think is interesting from a very top level perspective Not sure if this has kicked me out or not, but we'll play around with it. What I like is from a very top level perspective, if you're looking for information. Example, how a browser works. Maybe in a table, you're researching an article. I think this is really nice and in a nice, unique way to give informational queries simply and more effectively, in my opinion, than Google for certain queries. Keep that in mind. So let's have a bit of a play with it now. So present in a table format how a browser loads a web page. Let's see what comes up. Let me just minimize my screen here. So at the moment it says come up browse the internet, but it's giving me a step-by-step, just fine. Let's quickly tweak that and see if we can get a better response. Browser load. So sometimes you have to be quite descriptive. As we can see here, present in a table format, how a browser loads a web page, didn't really come up. And I've also probably spelled web page incorrectly, that space. Let's throw it off. Now I just written, how does a browser load a web page present in a table? And I think once again, from an AI perspective, this is great. I wouldn't basically take this information as a single source of truth, as mentioned. I would take it with a grain of salt. I would look at other resources online just to ensure that this is correct. But once again, if you're searching for some information, I think that's really, really useful. Let's continue. Let's look at another aspect of content. Let's look at entities. What entities are associated with plumbing? Let's see what comes up. Okay, could we make that information a little bit more clear? I'm pretty sure we can. Once it's done generating info, please outline the previous answer in bullet points. So this could be used potentially for some keyword research, or just if you're looking for something to get a bit more information on a particular page. I think that's really useful. Another aspect could be just helping you with writer's block. Maybe you want to write a specific page and you don't really know where to go. I think this is an interesting one. Please write website copy for a company about us page. So it comes up. Coming up pretty good. As you can see, it comes up fairly quickly. It's coherent. In this example, we are a team of passionate, dedicated professionals. So that's useful. So once again, as we can see, I'll just leave this loading in the background. So far, in just a few seconds, I've been able to create a page. I mean, not a page, a table that describes how a web page works. I think that's really useful. Talk about entities. I've cleaned up the answer in bullet point formats. This could be very useful for keyword research, as I mentioned. And now we're talking about writing a copy, writing a web page copy for About Us page. Very interesting, very unique. Now let's do a quick comparison between ChatGPT and a Google result for something generic like how to fix a leaky tap. And let's see what Google comes up with. How to fix a leaky tap. So let's contrast and compare. So Google's result, we have a video that has a few timestamps. Comes up how to fix a dripping tap here, which is interesting. People also asks a DIY guide to fixing a tap. So straight away, the information coming up here. How to fix a leaky tap. You need to identify source of the leak. And then here's a few following general steps. Definitely for information queries, as I mentioned earlier on in this video, this is potentially going to take a slice of the pie away from Google if people are just in a bit of a bind and they need to find some information. However, this tool doesn't really provide strong visuals, data, or voice or anything like that. If these tools incorporate this in the future, I think Google might be in a bit more trouble, or it might buy out this company or this technology. You never know. So what we have here is a coherent amount of steps. So turning off the water supply, open the tap, use a wrench, locate source, replace damaged O-rings, assemble tap. Let's go into this website, BHG. Let's see what pops up. So step 1, turn off supply, turn off water supply, spanner to unwind, remove washers. This one's a bit more detailed. It says to basically drain everything out, but it steps on to the next step in step 3 in this answer, which is basically using a wrench to loosen the tap, etc. So talks about O-ring in step 3, talks about the O-ring in step 5. As you can see, the result is fairly good, which is very surprising. Talk about 6 steps with visuals. This doesn't have visuals, as I've mentioned, but once again, a great answer. Let's see if we can push this a little bit further. So what we're going to do is, let's say at this stage, we're going to talk about page titles and descriptions. So at the moment, based on this page, using this plugin, this title is DIY Guide to Fixing Your Leaking Taps, Better Homes and Gardens. Then the description is the first task with fixing leaking taps, identify the problem. If it drips, want to turn off, it means that the washer is attached to the jumper valve, needs replacing. That's an all right description, but let's see if ChatGPT can do a better job. Please write an optimized, let's spell American style, optimized page title and description, and optimized SEO page house for the following web page. Going through, let's see what pops up. So it's popped up with a few variations, which is nice. Good if you have a bit of writer block, which is great. Let's see what pops up. Okay, so we have leaking tap repairs, tips and techniques for your bathroom and kitchen, stop leaks and save water, how to repair a leaking tap in your bathroom or kitchen, is your tap leaking, simple guide. These are fairly good, I have to say, if you're in a bit of a jam. Let's see if we can make this a little bit more detailed. I think we can go a bit of a step further. Once again, this is the bit of the irritation that I have with this tool, is just because the way you structure certain things in your query, you will get different results. And I have been playing with this tool for the last few days, and I think we might be able to get better results. Please write page title and description for this page. Same thing, copy. No, it's giving the same response. Okay, so as you can see, once again, for SEO perspective, for content writing, it's great. It's definitely helping out, giving a lot of good information. Perfect for writer block, perfect if you're just looking at variations. Maybe you want to A/B test certain titles, maybe descriptions, look at click-through rates in Google Search Console. This is an interesting and unique perspective, but I'm trying to go and do a little bit more, just a little bit more. Let's see if we can push this. Optimize the title and description of this URL. See if we can make anything better. A little bit longer. Okay. Right. Title. For fourth time the charm here. Let's just see if we can take this a little bit further. Oh, okay. So what we have here is something more unique, because in these titles we didn't have the branding. So we just had page title. Even though I incorporated this URL, once again, didn't incorporate branding. And now I've suggested optimize the title and description for this URL instead of for the web page, for this page. Added for the web page here, and I've had different result. So what we have here is we have optimized the title and description of this URL with a colon there, and it's given us branding. So repair your leaking taps in the bathroom and kitchen BHG, which matches the branding of this to a degree. Description: don't let a leaking tap waste water and money. Follow our expert tips and techniques to quickly and easily repair your leaking taps in the bathroom and kitchen, brought to you by BHG. So now we're getting somewhere. And this is what I said earlier. Sometimes you just got to really push this tool and you get some interesting results. And this is just a perfect example of that. And I actually feel that these descriptions are significantly better than what is here. So the first description here is, as I mentioned earlier, the first task with fixing leaking taps is identify a problem. The tap drips when it's turned off. It means the washer attached to the jumper valve needs replacing. I think these are way better descriptions. Don't let a leaking tap waste water and money. Expert tips, techniques to quickly and easily repair your leaking taps in the bathroom and kitchen, brought to you by BHG. Leaking taps can be a major source of water waste. Our step-by-step guide can help you repair your leaking taps and save water in your bathroom and kitchen, brought to you by BHG. Learn how to identify a source of a leak and make the necessary repairs with our easy to follow guide. Fix your leaking tap, save your water in the bathroom and kitchen. And the page titles: repair your leaking taps in bathrooms, fix your leaking tap, save water, how to repair leaking tap in your bathroom and kitchen. Definitely think the third one would be probably the best title, but these descriptions are really good. As you can see, coherent, have a bit of a call to action or mentioning the brand. I think this is good. Let's go into something else. Let's go onto a good topic of schema. Let's just see if these guys can generate some schema for us. Create organization schema. Let's just say markup, example, and JSON. So this is pretty powerful. It's creating, I wouldn't say it's the complete code, but a good example of what organization schema could look like. Very, very good. Could save some time. And I'm pretty sure if you were to fill out this information here, it could generate something very, very similar. Let's fill out some dummy data here. Cool. Very cool. Okay. whoop, create organization markup JSON, let's say with the following information. Let's go company let's go xyz.com.au. What else do we have here? Say I'll be company name, change that to URL, make it a bit faster. Name XYZ, and let's go logo, things a bit quicker. Copy this over. Dash logo dot png, for example. See if it generates it. Cool. So there you go. You can save a bit of time doing it in this perspective. Very, very useful, even though it didn't generate as much information with the social feeds, with the contact number, etc. Definitely can save you a bit of time. I think that's really useful. Very, very cool. And I think another area which I think is super, super useful is Excel. So let's just assume you're not 100% sure how a formula works and you don't want to go through the entire process of scrolling through all these Excel blogs or YouTube videos. So you could ask, how does a count if formula work in Excel? Let's see what comes up on a Google result. Let's go back. Okay, this is a featured snippet, but I don't necessarily feel like it's super useful for a user who may not understand how it works 100%. Counts the number of cell with value greater than equal to da. Let's see what ChatGPT provides, because this isn't a very good experience. So at the moment, as we can see, talks about count a formula in Excel, counts the number of cells within a specific range that meet given criteria. The syntax for the formula is range into criteria. Range is the argument, criteria is the argument specifies the condition that must be met. Very cool. Very useful, and I think in my mind, it's much nicer to use. Now, let's see if we were able to create a formula for Excel or Google Sheets, but we're not 100% sure what formula we want to use because we may have a knowledge gap. So let's assume we want to create a formula, but we're not 100% sure how to do that. So we could ask ChatGPT, for example, how to count, right? You say, well, let's say create a formula in Excel that counts multiple variations of a number, for example. So it comes up. See, there you go. So example, let's just say you never knew the countif formula existed, and you can search up and use ChatGPT for that function. I think that's really useful. Definitely super, super cool, and could save a lot of time and make you as a marketer and as someone who's in the data space much more effective. I think that's really, really awesome. So I feel that there's going to be many more aspects of this, but this is just really the tip of the iceberg of what it can do at the moment. And let's quickly talk about where I see the pros, the cons of all of this information and just the future. I think from a digital marketing perspective, SEO perspective, it could save you a lot of time in terms of just manual labor, trying to search for some information. You can pull up things and help you out, whether it's creating metadata, wherever it's researching some information, as we've done here before, like how a browser loads a web page, got some step-by-step process here. I think a negative is an over-reliance on this tool. Definitely, it can make things quicker or better, but if you've never really had much experience, with, let's just say, JSON or metadata, things of that nature, you don't necessarily know whether it's providing the correct information. So I feel a lot of people may try to skip this step and just focus very strongly on this tool. So definitely, I would say pros and cons, as it is with everything else. We've already seen this with other tools like Jasper AI, for example, in the past, where some SEOs were having an over-reliance on this technology. And I feel that this may have the same situation here moving forward. But overall, making leaps and bounds, and I'm not surprised why everyone is talking about this tool. It's great, it's doing an amazing job, and it's fairly accurate. The only irritation at this stage is just you may have to try several approaches to get the information that you want. I definitely think that this will be taking a slice of Google's search share for information, as we've seen, like on simple articles like how to fix a leaking tap, etc. But when it comes to other niches or verticals like e-commerce, services, SaaS, things of that nature, at this point, I don't think that this is going to take too much of that market share away. Or let's just say if someone's searching for like a service nearby, service-based business, or a other aspect where this bot would have to search the internet, definitely not a good comparison at this stage. But I feel where the killer will be in the future, if these AI bots will be able to search the internet, provide visuals, voice, or data, and be able to visualize all of that, that will be a very significant leap forward. But at this point in time, it's just important to remember that it's only as good as the training data that it has. And I feel that a lot of these tools will have big integrations in the future. I already see InLinks talking about integrating this into their software. I wouldn't be surprised if SEMrush, Ahrefs, all the other big multinational companies around will be having these technology integrated into the future in one way or another. So I hope you guys got a lot of value from this video. Thank you so much for your time. As you can see, the sky's the limit. This is just the beginning. In a matter of about 10 to 15 minutes, we're able to create so much information, talk about entities, talk about copy, talk about articles, how to fix information, how to fix leaky taps, for example, optimize page titles and descriptions, Excel formulas, schema. So once again, I'm pretty sure there'll be many more cool functionalities from this as more and more people play around with this. But this is what I've been able to find so far. So thank you guys so much for your time. Please hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.